the last resort to save Colorado's last resort for people struggling with addiction. We've outlined scenarios and tax consequences for weeks. Today we learn what made the Republicans' final tax bill. A high schooler who wants to be a nurse found herself with an instant audition.
I didn't have to think, it was just sort of an instinct that I had.
Musical genius on the 16th Street Mall. 2 million have now seen him play. You'll meet him tonight. Remember the guy who's putting dirty diaper decoys out for people stealing packages? Someone picked up a load. And tonight's holiday fail is my own confession. They really did look like cookies. Next. 8 business days remain if Colorado's largest addiction treatment organization is to be saved. A Rapo House plans to close the day after New Year's. With state legislators looking at whether tax dollars could come to the rescue, this now becomes a story for our political reporter, Brandon Ritterman.
It's hard to boil down the loss of a Rapo House to numbers.
And unfortunately, there will be people that die.
State Representative Brittany Pedersen, a Democrat, wants the state to bail out the group. She admits this hits close to home.
Watching my mom go through it, seeing her sober for the first time in 29 years. She's 4 months sober. She would not be alive today without access to treatment.
There's a story like that behind each number. 13,000 helped each year by a Rapo House. That's 35 people a day who'd have to look elsewhere or not and risk joining that other statistic. 504 opioid deaths and climbing every year. A Rapo House already stopped providing detox services and thinks it can relocate its remaining live-in and outpatients to other providers. But CEO Mike Butler says they simply can't keep going, losing money on each patient they treat.
This is a systemic problem. This is not just an Arapahoe House problem. There will be other closings.
Butler says the government aid that most of his patients use would need to pay more to providers like his to make it all work. Pedersen and others want to debate in the legislature about that money, but in the meantime, they hope Governor Hickenlooper will spend some state funds to keep a Rapo House open, using the same emergency power meant for fires and floods, only on the addiction crisis.
It's not something that we have ever included before, but I think that the circumstances are different.
The governor's office is non-committal right now and tells us it's looking at options. For Next, I'm Brandon Ritterman.
Full disclosure, Pedersen's married to Ian Silveri. He works as a Democratic political expert for 9 News. State legislators come back into session January 10th. Rapo House plans to close the week before that. NBC Nightly News covered the tax bill passing today. If you missed the news online or via alerts this afternoon, perhaps you have not seen that, unsurprisingly, Colorado's delegation voted along party lines. Republicans Mike Kaufman, Scott Tipton, Ken Buck, and Doug Lamborn all voted for the tax bill. Democrats Jared Polis, Diane DeGette, and Ed Perlmutter voted against it. So now the Senate is expected to do the same as soon as tonight, maybe 8 o'clock our time. If either of Colorado's senators buck their party line, I will buy you a Coke. Either Congress had a charitable change of heart at the last moment, or more likely, the real estate industry just has really good lobbyists. Because the home sale exemption that we explained on Next ended up getting dropped from the tax bill. It would have forced you to live in your place for 5 years instead of the current 2 before you could keep up to $500,000 of sales profit tax-free. That got tossed from the final version. Clearly, it would have had a big impact in Colorado. If someone who worked for you sexually harassed a coworker and then used your money to compensate the victim, you'd be mad, right? I mean, you'd probably want to fire that employee, right? Well, meet the United States Congress. New sexual harassment claims revealed today bring the total money paid out in secret settlement claims against House members to nearly $200,000 of your dollars. If the person you elected to Congress used that position to prey on others, that would be useful information for you to have next time you go to vote. You could still decide that you're comfortable voting for a sexual harasser. I mean, even you vote for an accused pedophile if you want. But that seems like information that you should have. Katie Bork is a lifesaver in the most literal sense of that word. She's also a senior at Loveland High School. Lucky for her great uncle in Fort Collins, the young woman who wants to be a nurse someday was nearby when he collapsed at the family's Christmas tree farm.
That's a good one.
We're at Tamlin's Fresh Cut Trees.
Have you had these subalpines before?
It's just a very family-oriented lot.
You like the short needle, okay?
It's my grandpa's tree lot, so I like working with him and for him.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody that works here is family.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
It's a happy time for everybody.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
My husband, he sells the trees. I help and handle the books inside.
And I like tell people the price and everything. And
Katie is a little angel. It was November 26th, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
All I remember that day is I had put the inflatables up in the morning, and from there on, I don't remember.
I was over at the office, and I heard a thud, a crash.
But then I heard someone yell, "Someone call 911, it's Uncle Ken."
His eyes were open, but there was nothing there.
And as I rushed in, I saw him just like laying on the ground.
I believe his heart had stopped at that point.
I saw him laying down, so then I got down on my knees and I just started doing CPR.
My niece Katie, she knew exactly what to do.
Then I just started doing chest compressions. And
the doctors said that without what Katie had done, he wouldn't be here with us.
Absolutely. I love her.
It is absolutely a Christmas miracle.
I loved her before, but
now you just love me more, huh?
I love you more.
That's fantastic. Katie's been accepted at UNC and CU Denver. She thought that she wanted to be a pediatric nurse, but now her idea about trying for med school does have an automatic essay topic, should she so choose. Jessica Ridgway's name will elicit knowing whispers around Colorado from all the people who remember her name and her face from that night when we were all asked to look for her and then told that it was too late. Jessica was 10 years old, on her way to school when she was kidnapped and murdered. That was 5 years ago. Today, Jessica has a baby sister. Her name is Anna. They share a middle name, and their mom says they have the same nose. Jessica's mother wanted to share what she has learned over the past 5 years.
I want people to know that tragedy happens, and you can't just cut off your life and stop doing things. You need to. It's not really a continuation or moving on. You're moving forward. You can't sit in your bed forever. You have to get up, you have to go to work, you have to make sure you move forward through the day. And yes, it's hard, and it's the hardest thing that anybody could possibly do is to move forward, but you have to do it. You can't just stop doing things because your child's gone.
We're sharing this because Jessica's family wanted you to know that they are in love, they are happy, and they know that Jessica's with them. Their extended conversation with our Anastasia Bolton airs tonight at 9 and 10.
Next, we'll return in a moment with our first ever man alert. Men, I will need your full attention. Run for the Roses today. An iconic garden in Denver is destroyed as people rush to save little bits of it. And it is about to get cold. I mean, really stinking cold, even for Christmas in Colorado. Next.
We interrupt this regularly scheduled news program for a man alert. Attention, men. I know that we have plenty of time left to finish our Christmas shopping. I know that we are not scared of a little snow and cold in Colorado. But these two situations are converging in a most inconvenient way that may best even the best of men. So attention, men. Do not be caught unaware. That concludes this next man alert.
Boys, you can get your shopping done tomorrow. The warmest day of the week coming up on Wednesday. Sunshine and 60s. You can do this. It's all going to change on Thursday. Winter solstice arrives in a new weather season along with the weather pattern. And wow, we're going to see some cold air come our way. Our high today at 55 is 10 degrees above average. Tomorrow we're headed into the 60s, but the snow is coming. It'll move into the mountains tomorrow night and into Denver Thursday morning just in time for the morning drive. Models suggest about 2 to 3 inches of snow for the city by Thursday night, but about a half a foot in the high high country where winter weather and travel advisories go out tomorrow afternoon. Tonight, no issues. High clouds coming in. Tomorrow, no issues. It's late tomorrow night into Thursday morning. The snow arrives first, the cold follows, and the cold will stick around right into the upcoming Christmas holiday weekend. Tonight, we have partly cloudy skies and a low around freezing. Tomorrow, sunshine with temperatures 20 degrees warmer than average. Thursday, temperatures, well, not even half that number, with 2 to 3 inches of snow. Clearing and very cold on Friday. Another round of snow on Saturday. Lows will fall below 0 over the upcoming holiday weekend. And high temperatures, we won't get above freezing for about 7, 8, maybe 9 days, Kyle.
Kathy, thanks. You know, when we say that Denver is changing, we don't just mean high rises and widening highways. It's all the small ways that neighborhoods morph into something new. The Rose House at Alameda in Logan is no more. After decades of decadent rose gardens filling the front yard, the new owner is not a gardener. But she did welcome neighbors, like Lucy Powers, to save the roses if they could.
For decades, you know, as we would drive by, it just was thrilling to see hundreds of roses in bloom. And this wonderful woman, very festive looking, and she'd offer roses to people if you were walking by. And it was just wonderful to see someone caring so much. Well, we all drive by. This is Logan and Alameda, and I saw realty signs up. And so I called. A woman named Ellen has purchased, and she called me back. The realtor tracked her down, and she called back and said, yeah, come and get the roses. The only problem is we had like until noon today. Just hoping, a lot of hope that we could at least save some of the roses because they are decades old and extremely beautiful. I know when I drive by here and these planters are gone, I'm going to notice. I think construction can be good and it can be disgraceful, and I think it can be important, but it is, in this particular case, you know, I wish I could slow it down. At least we have these wonderful people that were to demolish this. They're actually saving these. Why am I smiling? Because once they knew we wanted to save the roses, they're digging them out and we're putting them in a pile with their help. So I think she would be overjoyed and deeply grateful, and it would mean so much to her to know that people have come to rescue the roses, to take them in and to keep the heritage, the lineage of these roses going. And that's fantastic. Come and get these roses.
There are a few roses left. The contractors put them by the side of the house at Logan Alameda if you would like to give them a new home. A small side note here, we tried for years to convince the rose gardener to come on 9 News, to come on next and share the story of her beautiful handiwork. English was not her first language. She preferred to let the roses speak for themselves.
We're collecting your holiday fails. Today, though, I have one of my own to confess. In my defense, they totally look like gingerbread cookies. Millions of people have watched a video of the 16th Street Mall's Piano Man. He has a message he wants to share. Next.
When I say street music, you probably picture somebody who's plunking or plucking away for a dollar here, dollar there. Or maybe what comes to mind is the mind-blowing talent of a musician on the 16th Street Mall, a guy whose Facebook video has been seen 2 million times. It's time to meet the man behind the music.
Outside of everybody else's mind, just within myself, when I play, I'm here like this, or I'm here like this, because I'm trying to understand what I'm trying to say to myself. I am Deon Fisher, and I am me. you're a sponge of everything. Everyone is a sponge. When you take all of this stuff in and you analyze everything, then I come down here and I just express whatever was going on here. It's still there. And then by the end, I'm like refreshed. But I just shared with anyone who was listening what was going on, but they have no idea exactly what was going on. But they were emotionally connected if they took the time to sit here and listen to what was going on.
You are becoming famous. There's actually a video of you going around.
Oh yeah, it's actually what. But
You play very beautiful.
thank you.
Sit there.
I'm gonna show you something, okay?
Watch, don't touch. He's gonna show you.
And then we can go fast, okay? I was always catching the bus, walking in the snow with shoes like this, shoes with holes, or maybe walking from school to my house to just so that I can train later. It's all about freedom, and I'm teaching you I'm sharing with you my freedom. So.
We can all sleep soundly tonight knowing that a crime has been solved in Boulder. Well, perhaps not solved, but at least resolved. The case of the missing 20-foot snowman. The owner gave police a photo to ID his missing snowman in case they had to pick it out of a lineup with similarly sized snowmen. After he offered $500 for its safe return, somebody tossed it back on his lawn under the cover of darkness. I have an update for you tonight on Operation Diaper Decoy. This is our friend Tom in Stapleton, who put his son's well-used diapers in sealed packages on his porch. A little surprise for the thieves who roam our neighborhoods this time of year. Operation Diaper Decoy is a success. Tom says a thief snatched a load last week. Much to my delight, Tom said. Parcel number 2 went out this morning. A high schooler in Highlands Ranch got enough retweets to win a bet with his teacher to get out of his final. And then he learned how the real world works. Plus, my holiday fail, and it's not this. Next. A high schooler from Highlands Ranch taught his teacher a lesson in the power of social media and learned a lesson about how life really works.
That's Chase Scherschel on the left, sporting the self-assured smile of a young man who is about to get 2,000 retweets and win a bet to get his whole class 100s on their final. That's Thunder Ridge French teacher Olivia Holland on the right, wearing the look of dread of an adult who isn't about to follow through on that bet. Chase is now at 2,600 retweets and counting, but he and the class still had to take their French final this morning. He said Miss Holland was worried she'd get in trouble for handing out hundreds. Thunder Ridge's official statement called the bet nothing more than some fun on the students' part.
There are a few general life lessons in this for all of us. Study like the test is going to happen, even if you don't think it will. If you make an honest deal with a person in power, that does not give you power or give them honesty. That's not how power works. And lastly, just for Miss Holland's French class, que vera vera. What will be, will be. Forget Facebook's pretend perfect holidays. You know it's the thought that counts. And, all right, I thought that these were gingerbread cookies. You know, the leftover spare cookies from my wife's big cookie baking weekend. But they did not taste like her typical stellar work, which is why I texted her with an alternate theory. And yep, I ate homemade dog biscuits. And I'm now confused why Porter clamors for these things. They were actually quite dry. My wife, though, finds this hysterical, and I'm glad, but she's not the one who munched through a bag of dog treats in front of everyone in the Next office yesterday. Send us your holiday fails. Tweet them with the hashtag HeyNext or email next@9news.com. Contrasting feedback tonight about the man alert. Michael says it couldn't have been more patronizing and sexist if you tried. Kim says couldn't be more right on. As for the jacket, Natalie says it's on point. Wade says put it back under the tree. Kathy Wheeler says, oh, to be a fly on the wall when that decoy package gets open. Oh, to be a fly on, shoot, out of time.